say something
for people to know that you care for me. Baba, do something for people to see that you there for me.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my wonderful viewers. How are you doing today? I hope you are having fun. I hope you are catching fun. This is Twin Couple Gospel Music. Yes, so we are here once again on the program A Link to a Better Marriage. Remember last time we talked about how to choose a wife. On how to choose a wife, the first ingredient we had there is courtship. Now we talked about courtship last time. Now today we are going to be treating on obedience. Without wasting much of your time, we are going to talk about obedience briefly. So baby, can you please tell our wonderful viewers out there what they get to understand about obedience in courtship?
Thank you, viewers. God bless you for joining us today. We are back again to give you this wonderful episode on the topic how to choose a wife. So today we are going to be treating obedience under courtship. You know, we treated courtship last week, so we talked much about courtship, how to start. You know, when you want to make your choice of marriage, that the first thing you should do is courtship, at least to know the girl you wishes to marry. So today, the ingredients that will contain in that courtship, that's exactly what we're going to be treating today. So one of it is obedience. You know, many young men now will be so much ready to listen and expecting what they have in their minds, you know, on this topic of obedience.
Yes.
So obedience, I'm not going to start explaining what obedience is, because all people that are watching me right now, I will believe and will verily believe that they went to school. At least they should know a little or more of what obedience means. So obedience in courtship. You know, every one of us belongs to one family or the other. So in our families, we don't play with our female children, our sisters. We don't play with them. We see them and we handle them as an egg. We handle them jealously, so that they may not, or they will not be able to break carelessly. So because of this fact, we the twin couple are advising our viewers, guys, men that wishes to settle down, to take this matter very serious. That obedience in courtship is not an obligation for a lady. Yeah. So because a lady or a damsel, a young woman still unmarried, has a moral duty to listen and obey her parents or guardian or whoever that is training her. Even if the lady is established, she's still under a particular person, as at the time she remains unmarried. So we, the twin couple, are advising our viewers, the men that want to make this choice, to be careful on how they make determination based on this obedience. Because you might advise or ask a lady to do a thing for you, which might be contrary to what she has acquired or advice she might have gotten from her parents or her guardian. If she refuses to do it for you, you don't tag it as disobedience, because the lady is still under somebody.
Yes.
Until you make a decision that this lady is your wife. When you marry her, then the lady will be submissive to you. Now, based on what God says in the scripture, God said, wives, be submissive to your husbands. Let me ask you a question. You young man that want to make this choice, is that girl your wife yet? I believe the answer is no. She's not your wife yet. So because of this fact, you ought to understand when these issues arise. A lady might decide or choose to manifest her love for you through identifying with your desired destination by encouraging your vision and dreams out of her own free will. It is not an obligation. So when these things are happening, we want you to know exactly which one is obedience and which one is actions out of free will. You don't ask a lady under this courtship with you to do some certain things that can caution blame on her. So when some of these things occurs, you have to manage the situation very, very carefully, because a lady, as you see her, is like an egg to her baby. So now, a lady that is desperate to get married might decide to do almost everything that you ask her to be doing. But you have to be very, very careful in your selections, because all that glitters is not good. So might come as a snake. But what you ought to know is that, especially with the swing couple, we categorized the selection of marriage into two. Number one is marriage desperation out of frustration, and the marriage desperation out of maturity. When a lady is under this marriage desperation out of frustration, she will do everything. It's good to marry a lady under frustration, but you have to be sure that this frustration, this desperation is not frustration. It's better to marry a lady with marriage desperation out of maturity. Let me give you an instance. When I entered into courtship with this my lady, this my woman, my twin couple. So I demanded within a couple of weeks, I asked my parents to come over to Owerri, that is where I stayed that time, to come and see a lady that I am in love with, and I'm trying to know if we can have a union. So my parents decided to come over one weekend, and they came. They met with her, after which they told me that they like the lady. So when they got back to where they stayed, so they asked me on phone to see if I can come to where they stay with this girl, this my woman. So I finally told her that she was to follow me to about where my parents stay. She refused. She asked me to obtain permission from her parents, and her parents were not living in Owerri at that time. They were living at Benin City, Edo State. So she refused, and she insisted that I must call them. Then I called my in-law, and I demanded, I requested them to permit my wife to follow me to about where my parents stays. So with every negotiations and other protocol, finally allowed her to follow me. And they gave her order to come back within 2 days. So now, in a courtship, what I see or what we see in men or young people these days, if a lady, you ask this kind of a request from, to follow you, just like that, and the lady agrees to follow you without any consultation, without any permission from her people, my brother, that is exactly why we write down these particular ingredients under choose how to choose a wife. When a lady is desperate, out of frustration, you should be able to discover these things so that you won't make mistake of doing your choices. Because marriage is built upon solid foundation. So at later days, when you begin to remember your past, and when you remember them, your past, you will be so much happy. You will be so much grateful to God for giving you or for making such choices. So you have to be very, very extremely careful to how to manage this issue of obedience under courtship. A lady mustn't do everything that you requested her to do or you demanded of her under courtship. So men out there all over the world, we ask you to take this matter of obedience very, very serious.
Yes.
And know that a lady under courtship with you is duty
To her parents.
to her parents, duty morally sound to obey her parents.
Yes.
So that when you get into that thing called marriage proper, everything will be balanced.
Yeah,
and
she
you'll
will not be
happy.
totally submissive to you too.
So thank you very much
Thank you very, very
for today's
much.
episode.
Wow.
We will be treating what do we have next?
Next one is wisdom.
Wisdom.
We are going to be talking on wisdom.
Wisdom.
So, and also please, you can say yes only when you find out at least
50% of these qualities in a lady. You can say yes or I do to a lady
man.
or to a lady. You remember we are talking about
yes, to a lady.
to a lady. When you see 50% of these qualities, 50% and above of these qualities in a lady, that is when you begin to say yes or I do. Or you cannot get up to 100%
yes.
in a lady. So that is our.
Wow, that
Thank
is
you
all
very much.
for today. Thank you very much for listening, and may you remain blessed in Jesus'
Jesus' name.
name.
Amen.
Amen.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.